My question is, you mentioned no conclusive evidence. That to me, besides the foul, which I guess is subjective to the ref, that to me would probably be the most frustrating part. Why are we not at a place where VAR, a requirement for VAR is to have cameras along the touchlines to understand when a ball is in or out inconclusively?
Ultimately, it comes down to what the league is willing to financially fund when it comes to camera angles and when it comes to effectively, that's all really a league decision. So when we talk about why semi-automated offside technology, which would have those camera angles down the line, that was not PGMOL. That was Premier League who said we did not want that for this year. Now, if they institute it next year, they will have those camera angles that shoot straight down goal lines, touch lines, to be able to say with definity whether or not the ball has left that field. So truly, that doesn't come down to the referee side. That comes down to the governing body.
Christina, I know last season Arsenal received 2 apologies from the Premier League in terms of refereeing decisions. And I've been covering the sport for a while now on this side of things. And to me, that goal met the threshold of a clear foul because of the extension of the arms. So I am so confused as to, with all these number of checks for that goal, why that wasn't clear and obvious as a foul, because it is from behind and his arms are extended. So where are they saying that's not a foul? How is that deemed not a foul?
That comes down to the VAR themselves not thinking. And Charlie, I'm with you on that. For me, one of the biggest things is, yes, it's going through the back of the numbers is what I say, right? But you're right. Anytime we jump, usually the arms are up. But once you extend that and push through, and you can see the impact on that defender there that prevents him from moving forward, to me, that throws that in there. So now you have a VAR who's looking at this and kind of waffling. Is this clear and obvious, meaning does it reach a threshold that we would consider if we're going to put a percentage on it? 90% or more think this is a foul. He might have thought, it might have been 50-50 or 51-49, and therefore it doesn't reach that threshold, so therefore I'm not going to send it down. Even though I think it may be an error, I don't think it's a clear and obvious error. So that goes down to just really breaking it down. And, I know there's been a huge narrative and a focus in Premier League and PGMOL about, the quality of VAR and where they're at, where their standards are. I know when Howard Webb steps in, you're literally having to go and kind of reconstruct essentially the level of where we're saying, here's a threshold that we're signing off. And one of the biggest things to focus on as the VAR is, yes, there's a clear and obvious error, but there's also things that the public doesn't accept because it's not justifiable to accept. So at this point, it's merely a decision by that VAR saying, I don't think this rises to 90% of the overall general thinking it's a foul. And as you said, it's being disputed through many punditries, whether or not that would be enough for a clear and obvious foul. But for me, I err on the side that it's enough.
Christina, 2 questions. First one, it sounds like you had a lot of fun at the Tampa Bay Sun launch party.
I have completely lost my voice. I have been cheering on and ranting. So, yes, I have lost my voice.
Nice. Sensational. Well, keep on having fun. Second question. I see Jurgen Klopp's rhetoric right after the Spurs loss, and then I see Mikel Arteta's rhetoric. And to me, that's 2 different types of ways of attacking the rest, because in Liverpool's case, there was an error in the protocol. There was clear human error. They messed up. And then what Arteta's complaining about, it's more rather interpretation. It's subjective at the end of the day, right? It's not like they messed up. They made a call that should have gone the other way per protocol. So how dangerous does it become when Arteta's so vocally complaining against the referees, and then the club backs him up with a statement for a referee call that, with or without VAR, could have happened?
Nico, you hit on the head. I was really astonished when I saw Arsenal give that supporting statement. I understand coaches can get frustrated. Maybe, actually that's probably some of the best sound bites. But post-game, them being emotional and getting involved into it, not the greatest. And to your point, this is subjective. The Liverpool match is just inexcusable. But when you start using the narrative of the post-game to essentially attack the credibility of your refereeing quality, that's not the appropriate channels to do so. That transcends, as we've spoken before, down into the youth and the grassroots level and the semi-pro. But that's not the place and the time for that. And the fact that Arsenal doubled down on something which they had plenty of time to take a look at and say, is this something we want to continue to support? It's feeding into this bigger narrative that is trying to be created. And unfortunately, it makes it appear, and it is starting to become, using the media to weaponize against the referees and the referee community and the education and development. And that's bigger than just that. So, Arteta knows his words matter, and the club needs to respect the fact that their words matter. And that just ends up escalating and snowballing. What you said, and I respect, is it creates a dangerous environment for not just officials at the professional level, but the officials all the way down to the youth level.
Christina, I want to talk a little bit about the Bruno Gimes elbow on Juninho. It looked, to me, really deliberate. They showed it on the broadcast many times. It was never, from what I remember, was never considered for VAR. It feels as though something of this magnitude crosses the threshold line on a violent act or a dangerous act on the pitch. Can you take me through the protocol as to why something like this wasn't taken a look at, or why this player was allowed to stay on the pitch?
Yeah, there's a couple of considerations they're looking at: speed, force, point of contact, etc. One of the biggest things, and I'm with you on it, like, I cannot stand these types of challenges that go from the head up, sensitive area, an area that can cause quite a lot of harm. Probably one of the considerations they're taking a look at as to why he did not recommend it down was the fact that it hit more of this kind of a bracing as opposed to a lock and essentially like an elbow right into the head. I have been a big proponent of these types of actions are not football actions. Ball's gone, ball's on the ground. There's no need to come in with the upper body, right? If you're coming into this challenge here, your arm is more essentially closer down towards his shoulder and not higher above for that. But since it hit basically more of, as you can see right there, not his elbow directly into, but the forearm directly into, that is probably, and I've seen it in other places as well, why that recommendation would not have been sent down. Me, I've always been on the camp of, and I know sometimes it depends upon where, but I've always been on the camp, send this down, eliminate this from this game. It has nothing to do with the game whatsoever, and it has a high propensity of, thankfully here it didn't, but it can have bigger ramifications aside from this game. It can create concussions, and as we all know, that can take you out of the game. So for me, I want this to be a VAR recommendation down as well, but that would be the one consideration as to why the VAR would not have sent it down, just because it hit the forearm, and there may not have been a full extension going through. But for me, it doesn't matter. You play with the head, you make any type of attempt like that, it's not natural, it's not part of the game, get it out.
So let me just take a note here. So in England, it's okay to hit someone in the back of the head during a game as long as it's a softer part of your arm.
No, not at all. Thanks for taking my words out of context. No, it's just essentially saying, that's where there's, you're always going to have things that fall within the gray area, and these are ones that fall within the gray area, right? It's not a direct punch to the head, et cetera. But effectively, that is where the VAR, and explaining potentially why he did not recommend it down. And what I'm saying is, I'm with you on that. Right now, you got people saying, now you can just hit somebody in the head, right? As long as you hit it with the softer part of your arm. So, and that's why I say we recommend these down so that we don't have those statements.
Thank you for clarifying.
Can we talk about the polo that you're wearing right now?
Oh, yeah.
The logo.
Because the logo is absolutely fire.
Sick.
Thank you, thank you. As we know, a lot of football clubs have gone through rebranding. So when you do your own professional club branding, you get really nervous. You can't fail, right? You can't drop it. So Tampa Bay Sun Football Club, our name officially launched on Saturday, aka where my voice is gone, as I was cheering up the crowd of hundreds of people. And yeah, the logo in and of itself is inspired by what the community here. There were 2,500 submissions by the community in the Tampa Bay area. 9 individuals and more picked something related to the Sun. So it was a clear indication that, the Sun truly does unify us all and is the one factor in our Tampa Bay region. And a huge proponent of the logo, one, because obviously the Sun. I love the mask look. It feels a little bit Latina for me, so I love that. The maritime culture, and specifically where we're playing is an Ybor Center, which historically was the cigar capital of the world. And you could see a lot of the culture and the textile of Cubans, Colombians in our environment and area, and that's what really shapes and crests the Sun. So it's a pro club by the community. It's been named by the community. It's for the community. I can't wait to get you guys all of these kinds of. And when our jersey comes out in the spring, get you guys all that.
I can't wait to see that kit.
Heck yeah.
I know, me too.
I know.
Me too. It's been in a work. So. Yeah, can't wait to have that for you guys, and thanks for letting me plug it as I'm with your affiliate here on Grid Day Live in Tampa Bay on CBS right now.
Thank you.
Interrogation.
Thank you, Madam President.
Amazing. Madam President. No, you absolutely crushed it with that crest. It is awesome. Christina, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to catch up with you.